I welcome folks to the HireMyVa Team and Business Building podcast, where we help you to reclaim your freedom through hiring and thriving with virtual assistants without breaking the bank. I'm here with Larry Broughton, and I'm Dave Braun. He's my partner and a great friend. And today's topic is we're going to talk about I've never managed someone and I don't know where to start. So you may be thinking that. Larry, thoughts?
Thoughts.
What do you got?
What say ye? Well, listen, managing anything or managing anyone for the first time it's scary. You know, it's like anything. Going on a roller coaster for the first time is scary, right?
Yeah.
But I think that if we look at for those first time managers and leaders, particularly in the solopreneur business ownership space, the way I look at it is, everything is hard until it gets easy. You got to start doing it. You got to get in there and just do it. But the great thing is, if you consider that managing a team or managing your first team member, we call them team members, not employees, because it changes our mindset.
Absolutely.
About how we treat each other, right? But when you are managing or leading your first team member, it's like going on a road trip across country, and you've never left your hometown, right? That's why they have maps. That's why they have tour guides. That's why they have GPS. These are tools that are provided to you. Or think about the first time you ever made dinner for your girlfriend, boyfriend, significant other, right? It's probably a little nerve-wracking, particularly if you're a crappy cook, right? So that's why they have cooking shows. That's why they have recipes, right? These are tools that are used. And so, yeah, it can be a little bit scary at times, but we provide the tools and the recipes for those folks who have never done this before. This is why HireMyVa was actually created, because frankly, we've been there, right? I remember the first VA that I hired, they were actually based here in the US, and it did not go well. And the second one that I hired did not go well. We tried one in the Philippines, did not go well. It took me 3 or 4 or 5 times before I finally figured out, well, what am I doing wrong here, right? And so it's hard, it's scary. It's hard enough managing someone, Dave, when you're in the same room. When you're managing someone remotely, it can be there are a unique set of challenges in there. And that's one of the things I love about what we put together with this program is how do you deal with those particular challenges? And so giving them tools and tips on how to do that.
Yeah, and I like your point in that all of these things have been discovered through trial and error and a lot of pain on our part, and we don't want people to go through all of that pain. Right?
No, because we talk about this all the time. You and I are committed to creating a huge impact on the world by developing more leaders and entrepreneurs, right? And you don't do that by not sharing the goods, by watching other people suffer.
Yeah. It reminds me of one of the people in our program that we've helped, Sarah, who owns a web development agency. I mean, she has leveraged the advice that we've got, our workbooks, our tools, our sheets, in the community that we have, the people that we have, to get guidance on setting up the systems with our VA, performing reviews. When should you do that? How should you do that?
Right.
And then I think one of the most important things, though, as we talk about is how do you have fair but tough, when needed, conversations?
Yeah.
One of the things that is an important mindset that I had to learn, and I think I had to learn the hard way, was you are the boss. I'm the boss, not their friend.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're
a friendly boss.
Exactly. Yeah. And that it's, your business, and there's times when you have to have the tough conversations, but there's that balance, right? And we talk about that in the course. And how do you balance being a friendly boss, being a friend, being somebody who's empathetic and understanding of situations, but then not letting that really affect your business or run over you, so to speak, right?
Yeah, I think the framework when it comes down to these first-time managers, what we need, one of the things that we share throughout all the organizations that I'm with for first-time managers is this, what we call the DAC Framework, DAC. And when I think we get this, when we nail this down, it helps us manage and lead anything that comes up. And the first thing is this: making sure that you and your team members, the D is direction, making sure that everyone is clear on the vision and the goals of the organization and the project that you're working on specifically right now.
Mhm.
right? So that's one of the things we forget. We're going to hire somebody, but we never clearly set the expectations, right? So how will people ever meet your expectations if they don't know what they are? So direction is number one. The A in DAC, is alignment, ensuring that everyone on the team knows their own responsibilities and how their responsibilities are aligned with everyone else on the team.
Mm-hmm.
By me doing this and you doing that, then this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
The third thing, the C, DAC, is commitment, making sure that everyone is committed to the organization, committed to the goals, committed to the project, and that they're passionate about making sure that their commitment shines through, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes I say DACC, and the third one, that second C, is communication. We have to overly communicate with folks. And particularly during times of crisis or downturns in the economy, or if the organization is struggling, the best communication is over communication. So it's either DAC or DACC, which is direction, alignment, commitment, and then the second C, the fourth letter is communication.
Yeah, that's great. And sometimes we think that you jump into this and you're gonna like, okay, I want to hire 3 or 4 people because I need so much help. Yeah. Right. But that's not what we see. That's not what we teach. That's not what we want you to do. You want to start off, with one person. And like what I did is I started off with Daphne as a general virtual assistant, right? She helped me move my thinking from tactical to strategic, and offload all kinds of stuff to her. Right. So that's a path, right? And we help you to create, well, we have a path to find, and part of that is preparing yourself to figure out what you really need or who you really need, what role that person is going to play, right? Because that's going to be key.
Right.
And then, like my second one that I've gone through a few is a developer virtual assistant for my business.
Right.
And then the third one is we're developing, and this person's part-time, and we're doing some SEO work now. So we're just gradually growing the team. And that's what we would want you to do. But it all starts with getting your first one.
Yeah, and you kind of touched on it, and you kind of glossed over it. You've hired a few, and a few of them haven't worked. And I think one of the things we need to remember as managers and leaders and business owners, you're going to make mistakes. They're going to make mistakes. You're going to make bad hires. Just because you make a mistake doesn't mean you're going to throw your hands up. Hopefully, throw your hands up in the air and say, this is not for me. Hiring people is not for me. Yeah. Well, guess what? Even if you're hiring an in-person, real live body, it's going to be in your office, in your home every single day. Guess what? You could actually hire the wrong person. We see it all the time. We see it with our coaching clients. We see it in my business. I've made bad hires before. But the key is, one of the mantras in our organizations, as you know, Dave, is slow to hire and quick to fire. Mm-hmm. And by that, I don't mean, oh, Dave, I don't like the way you're combing your hair today. I'm going to, you're fired. I'm talking about, oftentimes we know on the first or second day or first or second week whether someone's going to work out or not. But we're so afraid of hurting someone's feelings, or that we're not a good call, or don't trust our instincts, so we let it linger. And 6 months later, we're still kicking ourselves that this person didn't work. Yeah. This is why earlier I said about the DAC, the communication. You don't have to be so concerned. If you overly communicate about what your expectations are, and they still aren't meeting them, you'll know by the second week whether they're going to make it or not. And then you just cut them loose, and all you say is, this isn't working. I'm sorry. Maybe it's just not a great fit. For those folks who do stick around and make it into the first month, what we try to do, and sometimes we're great at it and sometimes we're not, we try to do a very brief 15-minute review with people 30 days in. Instead of waiting until 90 days, 30 days in, we actually do a really brief review. And so it's a two-way communication. How are we doing? Here's how we think you're doing. How do you think we're doing? Are we meeting your expectations? And when you do that, plus all the other hundreds of tools and tips that we've got, you're really setting up these new team members to be highly productive, which is going to offer you a whole lot more freedom than you currently have. And when you've got more freedom, the overwhelm goes down and your productivity skyrockets. And then guess what? Your confidence starts to exude as well.
Yeah. And having the tools and resources that we've got in the program behind you will help you get that confidence from the get-go.
It's plug and play, for crying out loud. right?
I mean, one of the key concepts that we talk about when it's, you think about, oh, it's scary. I haven't managed people before. I don't know if you remember, I was a soccer ref for a bunch of years when my kids were little. One of the things that I learned is to start the match correctly as a ref. I had to take control of the situation.
Yeah.
So here, it's a fun story, is that I learned at the very beginning of every match to see what was going on, and I had this really loud whistle, and then I'd blow it as soon as I could into the match. The kids would be like, "Oh, that's that's too loud." I'm like, "Hey, you don't want it to be loud. Play by the rules, right?" So it's important to have those to set yourself up right from the get-go.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's one of the things that we talk about and we teach you. We give you, all the startup scripts and things that you need to use. And so it's so important to start off right. But you can do it, right? Larry, do you agree with me? Managing is a skill that can be learned.
Oh, absolutely. But when you've got a roadmap, you have a recipe, there's enough things in business to be afraid of, right?
Yeah.
And so if we can take some of that fear away by, I hate to say this, 70 some years between us of leading people.
That's a good thing in this case.
It is. But it's very interesting, in thousands, maybe tens of thousands of people that we've hired and led over the years. We've learned a few things, right?
Yeah.
I love helping people get through this roadblock. And I remember, maybe I shouldn't say her name. You tell me.
How about Mrs. X?
Miss X. You may recall this, when she hired her first team member. Remember how excited she was? She said that she felt like she was finally a real business, that it was no longer a hobby anymore. She felt, I'm an employer. I'm paying somebody now. There's something really rewarding about that. And the great thing about hiring VAs is that although we treat them like team members, they're really 1099. They're contracted people, right? And when they're overseas, it doesn't feel, for me, I don't feel the heavy burden, but I get the same benefit without the heavy burden on my shoulders, right? Yeah. So there's a lot of benefits to hiring that first person. And I just promise you, most of us have gotten into business to actually create legacy, change the economic trajectory of our lives and for our family. So the sooner you can become, or we, Dave, can become more productive and earn more income and earn more revenue, the better. So why not get working in your strengths sooner rather than working out of fear and spending, what studies have shown, spending 80% or more of our time doing things that we're either not good at or we don't like, that's outside of our strengths. Like I said earlier, for every minute that we can get working in our strengths is a minute where we can start seeing the trajectory of our revenues and income start going up.
Yep. Yeah. And we got
stress.
Yeah. Yeah. And we got the resources in the program and to help you. And one of the cool things is we are available for questions, right? So you talked about, Larry, our 70 plus years of experience. Yeah. And I think one of the important things when it comes to experience is that you don't have the same, it's not like you have 70 years of 1 year of experience. That's not what we have, right? So in other words, you've got the experience of running organizations from small to large and coaching others in the entrepreneurial world.
Right.
I have that in the last few years as well, working with VAs, but then I've managed highly skilled people across the world in the corporate environment.
That's right.
And so, between the two of us, we've got a really great balance of, how do you really, deal with different situations and all that.
Well, it's not just us, it's the community that we're building as well, of other people who are in the same boat who are hiring VAs. Hey, this worked for me. This didn't work for me. What do we do about holidays? How are you incentivizing people? Yeah. Because it's still a people, whenever you hire somebody, you're still dealing with people.
Yeah.
And what works for one person may not work for another. And it's like a virtual mastermind that's going on, sharing of ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. We're learning all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up. Any final words?
No, I just say be bold. Don't get stuck in fear because I've never done it before.
Yes. Yeah.
As I said earlier, there are people out there who say, gosh, when they've hired that first person, it's been like a big victory from it's like making that first $100 or that first $1,000 in your business. Because you just know when it goes well, you know that all of a sudden you're going to start multiplying your time and talents. But don't beat yourself up if that first hire, that second hire doesn't work. If you get to the third hire and it's still not working, then it's time to bring it to the community and say, hey, these didn't work. Hey, let me just share this really quick thing though, Dave, before we wrap up. One of the things I learned when I was in the military is doing AARs, an after action review. If you hire someone and it doesn't go well, do what we call an AAR. Ask yourself, what did I do right in this? What did I do wrong in this? How can I improve the next time around? If it didn't go well, don't do the same exact thing all over again, because guess what? You're going to end up with the same results. And the AARs is one of the tools that we have in the program, and we do deep dives on AARs. I think we do it in one of the upcoming podcasts, but also we've got tools in the program.
And that's how we've developed a really, really great process in the course, right?
That's right.
All right. Well, folks, that's all we got for today. If you want to reclaim your freedom, change your life dramatically, you just got to build a team if you want to have significance, right? And we're here to help you. So go to HireMyVA.com for more info on our course and community, where, like we talked about, even without experience, you'll learn how to prepare for, hire, and thrive with virtual assistants. So Larry and I have coached a lot of folks. We've helped them overcome their hurdles to be successful. We can help you too. Just go to HireMyVA.com for more information. Have an awesome rest of the day.
All right. Thanks, guys.